a motion to reopen?
So moved.
Have a motion and a second. All those in favor, let me know by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposition? Reopen. All right. Discussion of action items. You have a request for approval of grades 4 through 8 summer school guidelines. Dr. Miller, would you like to address that? It's pretty straightforward in the
Well, we have 26 and a half days of school left this year, so it's time to prepare for the summer, and that means approval of the summer school guidelines. We have summer school for grades 4 through 8 presented to you tonight, and there's two different summer schools, and I recommend that the board approve those guidelines.
You have the recommendation from the superintendent. What is the pleasure of the board?
I move to approve. Oh, move to approve the summer school guidelines. Second.
Have a motion and a second. Is there any discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor, let me know by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposition? Passes 5-0. Item number 3, you have a request for the approval of the 2019-2020 salary guide. What is the pleasure of the board?
I move to approve the 2019-2020 salary guide. Second.
Have a motion and a second. Is there any discussion?
Yes. I applaud the state. They are recognizing all the individuals in the school system. The certified with a $3,000 raise and all the non-certified with a 2% raise. And I feel like the governor is making, a huge commitment of funds throughout all the school systems in the state. And I think that's absolutely wonderful. Last year in our school system, there were individuals and there were raises in the school year, actually in the school year. And those raises totaled about $43,000 that individuals got. And then in addition to that, the raises from the governor and then additional compensation, the total is around $97,000, and that would include the $3,000 raise. But I feel like it's excessive. I feel like we needed to do some more thinking, and so as a member, I will oppose this salary scale.
Thank you for your comments. Anybody else? Hearing none, all those in favor of the salary guide as presented, let it be known by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposition?
Yeah.
Passes 4-1. Next item on the agenda is the appointment of a board member to serve on the Lee County Education Foundation. Dr. Miller.
The Lee County Education Foundation is an organization created to provide another way to support students and teachers. Foundation exists in school systems like Forsyth County and Lowndes County, as well as others around the state. And the board the directors consist of 7 people. Right now there are 6 positions on that foundation board that have been filled, and the board of directors would like to have a member of the Lee County Board of Education serving in that capacity on that board. So that's something that the board we would like the board to do, to appoint someone to fulfill that obligation.
Okay. This is a little out of order, but my recommendation to Dr. Miller and just in contemplation is really not so much about individuals as it is about positions, keep this level of consistency within that board. My thought is, if somebody else has to make this recommendation, if they agree, would be that the person who serves in the vice chairman position fill that role on the foundation board, and just know that that could be one of the duties of that vice chairman, so that we have a level of consistency with someone who's had potential experience on the board to serve in that capacity for the foundation. As the chairman, I wouldn't want that role, but that's why I would pass it off to the vice chairman. But I think gives some consistency. what is the pleasure of the board?
I move that we nominate the vice chair to serve on the nomination.
You have a motion, is there a second?
Is there anybody that's interested?
What?
In serving?
I didn't hear you.
Is there anyone interested in serving in that position?
Well, with this motion,
Well, we just got a motion, now we need a second before we can discuss it if we, somebody wants to second the motion.
do you want me to second it?
If you would like to.
I'll second it.
All right, now we have, now discussion.
We can
Ms.
discuss it.
Ford,
You can second it without voting for it.
Is there anyone that's interested?
I agree with Frank that I think that experience is there, that's the best way to.
I think it's a matter, it removes the individual rotation back and forth. It kind of gives some level of consistency that some, just knowing this foundation is a new deal for all of us too. But it gives a foundation, something they can look to see. This person is gonna be the member representing the Board of Education. Whoever serves in that vice chairman position is just gonna have that extra duty of being involved in the foundation.
Who on the board was interested in serving? Were you interested in serving them?
All
Before they
five,
made
I
this
think all
motion?
5 members of the board were interested.
I haven't had
That's
anybody
right.
come to me to say that they had an interest in that. This was just an idea.
So you were, I'm asking, I'm just
What?
like, you were interested in serving?
Not particularly. So I'm the one who probably got nominated.
Well, nobody else was interested?
I'm interested.
She was, you are.
No, I told her, no, I took my name off, I'm on enough boards, I don't need to be on another.
Claire, weren't you?
I was, but I have got so much to juggle right now with Will and girls, and then my extra other activities.
I mean,
That's
I
what
don't,
make you feel
I
about
guess
it. It
my,
doesn't last but 2 years. That make you feel better? Just 2, it doesn't last but 2 years.
The appointment to
About the appointments just for 2
vice
years.
chairman.
Yeah.
Yes.
Uh-huh. Not as vice chair, the appointment to the foundation just lasts 2 years. Patsy's on the foundation, Sue is a 2-year appointment. So it's not as though it's a lifetime appointment. Thank goodness.
But the position, is that, let me understand correctly from the foundation standpoint, are they granting one of those board seats to a sitting board member? So this is,
That's my understanding,
Yeah.
correct?
okay.
So that we always have representation from this panel on the board.
And that would be at our choosing,
Right.
who would represent us from that. Okay.
If you could do, you could sub somebody, you know.
I mean, I'm just saying, I don't think we should make it a vice chairman if the vice chairman doesn't want to be on. I mean, that's just my that's my opinion.
That's valid.
But I do think it's the great diplomatic solution is to give it some standing, but if
As
she's
long
not
as we make
interested,
it
I would
work.
open it up to maybe letting her or somebody else serve.
Okay. We have a motion on the board. Any further discussion about that? We'll call it to a vote, and however it works is how it works. All those in favor of that motion, let me know by saying aye. Aye.
Aye.
All those opposed?
I'm sorry, who said aye?
I voted for myself, yeah.
All those opposed, let me know by saying aye.
Aye.
Okay. Passes 3-2.
My favorite story is my good friend in high school, went to Vanderbilt, played football. He lost the captains of the football team because he wouldn't vote for himself.
All right, next item on the agenda is a discussion of partnership for the Forest City Academy. Dr. Miller.
The board has a copy of the memorandum of understanding for the partnership with Dory County School System and the Commonwealth Conyers College and Career Academy. And reviewing the MOU and discussing this with you individually, some board members had questions that needed to be addressed before we formally adopted the MOU. No board action is required at this time. However, I do want to call your attention to some additional documentation that was provided by the Executive Director, Mr. Chris Hatcher, from the 4C Academy, and this is clarification. For example, a board member had a question about in the event there was a discipline issue involving one of our students at that location, how would that be handled? And then I know another concern was having a representative of Lee County on the 4C Academy board, and then some clarification of just things like transportation and other issues. So there's a letter from Mr. Hatcher to Mr. Dyer and myself that I've shared with you. I didn't know if you had any questions that I might could answer tonight, or anything that you wanted to discuss regarding this. We had intended to get to the point of having the MOU ready, but it was not, based on your feedback and our consideration, that we weren't ready to move forward with action at this time.
Any questions from the board?
If you appoint a board member from our system to their board, I don't know if that's needed or not, but if you do, then are we gonna be on the hook for funding?
No, sir. A board member would be appointed by their board, and it would be a business person from Lee County, somebody with a business tie to this community that would serve in that role. And the seat is formerly Darton's seat, so there is a seat that's vacant, and what I've been told verbally was that could be filled, because I know there was some concern about having representation on the 4C board. So that would be a business person, not a board
Gotcha.
member.
If you've not been there and had a chance to visit it, I would highly encourage it. It was quite impressive what they were doing.
Yes, and we currently have 2 students, is that right, Dr. Hancock, they're enrolled there. So this is kind of already in place to some degree, but there's no formal MOU. Our understanding is that up to 25 Lee County students could participate in the 4C Academy without having to make the commitment of their FTE funding to their system. So that's a very generous offer from them. But yet remains some of these questions that we need to work out, and that's the additional documentation provided by Mr. Hatcher.
Any further discussion? All right, no action is to be taken. Next item is you have a request for the approval to allocate funds to the Lee County Library. I understand it is the same dollar figure from last year, $81,000. What is the pleasure of the board?
I move we approve to allocate $81,000 to the Lee County Library.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Is there any discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor, let me know by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposition? Passes 5-0. Next item is the request for approval of the soft docs proposal. Dr. Miller?
I'm going to call on Mr. Dowling to talk about it. SoftDocs provides a capability to do many of the functions that we use a paper trail for without that requirement. It makes our operations more efficient, and it also helps us improve operations. So,
Well, you did it.
yeah, that's
That's what you said.
Yeah, basically what Dr. Miller said. I just printed out a few notes. I know you probably have a copy of the memo that I wrote to him about it, but basically there are several platforms within SoftDocs. I don't know if you've heard of it before, but basically, you know, in the business world, there are things called hard copies, which is what this is, and then soft copies, which is something that's on your computer. In other words, a Word document would be considered a soft copy because it's still on your computer. You don't have a tangible piece of it, and it's something that you can take, Google Docs, things like that. So soft docs is basically a way for us to go more paperless than what we have in the past. Several different components to it, a base platform, and this would be for our system, not just down here. I mean, it would be for everybody in the system. Finance records, which Gary can talk a lot more about those than I can. The purchasing part, expense reporting, travel requests, personnel records. A person could access their file and be able to retrieve information out of their own file inside of SoftDocs. You could have a purchase order. You could, instead of writing out a paper purchase order and sending it, to the next person to then sign, and then send it to the next person, so on. It basically, there is its own little trail that goes through, basically through the cloud in SoftDoc. So you fill out a purchase order request, you hit send, it goes to the next person who approves, they get into their file, they approve it. The person who originally wrote the purchase order can see the trail as it's going. It'll save us a lot of time on, and this word is, it's a business word, it's not really an educational word, but our workflows save us a lot of steps. It'll help our people down here with their paperwork, I mean, in their processes and procedures, and it'll help folks around the system. And one other part of it is even electronic contracts. And you know, that's something that a lot of systems are going to now. As I look at my listserv from my professional organizational group, there are a lot of folks that are going to electronic contracts, where basically the contract is pushed out, the employee looks at it and they sign it. There is a way to hit a button and say, by hitting accept here, I realize that I'm signing blah, blah, blah. There's legalese involved, but basically they can do paperless contracts. Saves us on the paper, it saves us on the time for principals having to come down, pick up the contracts, take them back to their school, dole them out to everybody, so on and so forth. So great time savings, a lot of paper savings. Gary, like I said, he could talk a lot more about the finance part than I can, but you know, we really think it's something that'll help get us into the 21st century, basically, as far as our workflows and our paperwork and our processes go.
What is the pleasure of the board?
And then if we approve the purchase of the SoftDoc software.
I second.
Have a motion and a second, is there any discussion?
Kevin, is this?
Yes, ma'am.
In reading that, it's right at $60,000 for the software and then $50,000 for the training?
Implementation,
The implementation
to
is
put all the documents in. Years ago, we looked at going with a different accounting software. The state provides it, and I'm like, we can't afford it. It was $300,000. What this program does is basically a teacher initiates a purchase order out in the school. It goes to the principal approves it. And you don't have to retype it when it gets down here. So the principal approves it, it comes to me, and then I approve it, and then it goes to a purchase order, it gets printed in Dr. Walters. Then, actually, it's all in the system the whole time. So Mr. Walls that's out at the warehouse, when it's received, he can pull that one up. It just automates our software. The other thing with payroll, everybody's getting a direct deposit will no longer, we will have to print that direct deposit. It will email you a direct deposit, or whether that you log in and pull it up. I can't remember if it's an
You can
email.
even pull up W-2s. I mean, you can pull that up and set
Your
it.
leave will be there, and it's integrated with our accounting system. And so, I mean, to me.
That was the other big selling point, is that it integrates with PC Genesis, which is our big coverall. I mean, you know, our folks will tell you that if it doesn't integrate with PC Genesis, it's not, because it'll take us more work to develop something to integrate with PC Genesis than it would be, but this integrates seamlessly with it.
So it's taking us into the next century.
Gary, assuming it bills employee expense request
Yes,
reimbursement.
it does
to-
do that.
So that's $110,000 the first year and then $60,000 every year.
57.5, I think it was that average.
Yeah, that's the way I read it.
The one thing that I did notice is about the contracts, the teacher contracts, because I think that for the schools, for the system, is one of the hardest things to give and get back. And then I also noticed there was an onboard for the new
Yes, ma'am.
employees.
Yes, ma'am.
And that would, that would get all their data in there
Yes.
quickly and generate that contract.
Exactly.
Instead of the delay that we sometimes experience.
Correct. And that's another, you're right. I was gonna mention that, and I floated over, but you're right, yes, that's another big part of it.
It's compatible with our PC Genesis.
Yeah.
So the county software we already have. We looked at this a couple years ago, but weren't able to get off the ground with Mr. Dowling and Mr. Kelly and the ladies in the office vetted several providers, and this is their.
we didn't have class sizes. I couldn't recommend this when we didn't have class sizes at the right amount. I mean, this is nice. I mean, and it's our employees will appreciate it.
Okay. Any further questions? All those in favor, let me know by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposition? Passes 5-0. Last item on the agenda is the request for permission to add an IT applications course to the TLC. Dr. Miller?
We're always looking to expand and improve our elective offerings for the students at the Transitional Learning Center, and this is a course request from Mr. Edmondson, the director, and I recommend approval.
You've heard the recommendation of the superintendent. What is the pleasure of the board? We have a motion and a second. Is there any discussion? All those in favor, let me know by saying aye. Any opposition? Passes 5-0. Seeing no other items on the agenda, I'll entertain a motion to adjourn. Have a motion and a second. All those in favor, let me know by saying aye.